Our live stream to YouTube is up. For anybody who's watching on YouTube, I just want to give you a heads up. We will start the webinar at 7 o'clock, which is just a few minutes away. Thank you. All right, starting the webinar. Welcome, everyone. This is a virtual public information meeting for 63737. We are going to give ourselves a few minutes to let everybody attend and join the Zoom meeting. So just hold on and we'll start in a few minutes. Good evening, everyone. I think we're going to get our meeting started here. I'd like to welcome everyone to State Project number 63737. This meeting is a virtual public information meeting, and we want to provide the public a chance to hear about the project, meet the project team, and also ask questions about the project. The project in question, we will be rehabbing bridge number 371A at the Founders Bridge, which carries Route 2 over I-91, the Connecticut River, and the Connecticut Southern Railroad, located between Hartford and East Hartford, Connecticut. We have a couple slides we're going to go over first before we get into the actual project details. First, Title VI, your civil rights. No person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. We have a voluntary post-meeting survey. We encourage you to take it. You can either click the link or scan the QR code. For more civil rights information, you can also click that link there. A recording of this presentation will be posted to Connecticut DOT's YouTube channel after the event. Closed captioning, including non-English translation options, are available on Zoom and YouTube. Some more Title VI. Title VI notice to the public. The Connecticut Department of Transportation operates its programs and services without regard to race, color, and national origin in accordance with the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Any person who believes she or he has been aggrieved by any unlawful discriminatory practice under Title VI may file a complaint with the Connecticut DOT. There's more on the slide. Feel free to go back and check that out after this recording is posted on our YouTube page. This is the previous slide, but translated to Spanish. I will pause here for a few moments so you can pause and read this as well on the recording. How to view captions and subtitles in Zoom. Down on the toolbar, click the Show Captions button. It's CC. Click on Speaking Language. That'll bring up a list of languages and select the language you would like from the list shown. Closed captioning, including non-English translation options, are available on YouTube after the event. How to use the Zoom Q&A function. Select the Q&A tool at the bottom of the Zoom webinar window. The Q&A window will open up as seen on the right. Type your question in the text box and click Enter. That will enter your question in and we will be able to see it. And if you're an audio-only participant, dial *9 to raise and lower your hand. After our presentation, there's a question and answer session. You can ask questions by email. Our email is dotproject0063-0737@ct.gov. You can call in by phone at 860-594-2020 and leave a voicemail. You can also use the Zoom Q&A function that we just discussed, and there's more information available on our project web page. Following the presentation, we have a public comment period, which will end on August 22nd, 2024. I'd like to introduce our project team members. From the CT Department of Transportation, Bart Sweeney is our Division Chief of the Bridge Division. Bao Chung, Principal Engineer, Head of Major Structures. Mazin Meziani, Supervising Engineer and Project Manager for this project. Luke Arno, myself, I am the Project Engineer. From our consultant, we have CHA Consulting with Ryan Cooley, Project Manager. Jen Pixley, who you will hear from next. John Pirelli, the Highway Lead. And then from VN Engineers, Sam Martha. I'll pass it over to Jen for the formal presentation.
Great, thank you, Luke. As Luke noted, I am Jen Pixley from CHA, the designers for this project. So today I'm going to be discussing state project number 63737, the rehabilitation of bridge number 371A, also known as Founders Bridge. So the purpose of this project is to maintain the bridge in a state of good repair. The project needs includes extending service life, replacing deck joints, removing the movable inspection platform, repairing concrete deck, and replacing membrane and waterproofing, as well as increasing the substandard load rating capacity to a 1.2 or better for all CTDOT rating vehicles. So for project location, Founders Bridge carries Route 2 eastbound and westbound over I-91, the Connecticut River, and the Connecticut Southern Railroad in Hartford and East Hartford. The bridge was built in 1958 and had a full superstructure replacement in 1995. The bridge carries 3 lanes in the eastbound direction and 4 lanes in the westbound direction. Spans 1 through 5 have an out-to-out dimension of approximately 92 feet and widens to approximately 112 feet and spans 6 through 10, as an 18-foot wide sidewalk frames into the main structure on the bridge on the south side at Pier 4. So here is a colored plan and elevation view of Founders Bridge. This view shows the west side of the bridge on the Hartford side, and the next side will show the East Hartford side. So the bridge is an 11-span structure comprised of a concrete deck supported by welded steel plate girders. Spans 1 and 2 are 2-span continuous. Spans 3 through 5 are 3-span continuous, and spans 6 through 11 are 6-span continuous. The superstructure is supported by a concrete abutment and piers. So as noted, this is the east side of the bridge on the East Hartford side. So this view shows the cross-section of the bridge. The top cross-section represents spans 1 through 5, and the bottom cross-section represents spans 6 through 11. So Route 2 is a divided highway consisting of 4 11-foot travel lanes on the westbound side and 3 11-foot travel lanes on the eastbound side, with a 3.5-foot right shoulder and 1-foot left shoulders. Concrete parapets exist at both fascias and the medians. The median barrier separates Route 2 eastbound and westbound, and a sidewalk barrier separates the sidewalk and Route 2 eastbound. So before getting into existing conditions, I thought it'd be useful to note how condition ratings are determined and the purpose of them. So per the CTDOT Bridge Inspection Manual, a condition rating is a judgment of a bridge component condition in comparison to its original as-built condition, used to provide an overall characterization of the general condition of the component being rated. So condition ratings are assigned a numerical value, each indicating a different condition, 8 being very good, 7 good, 6 satisfactory, 5 fair, and 4 poor. So now I will discuss existing conditions of Founders Bridge. First, for the deck. Overall, the deck is noted to be in satisfactory condition. The underside of deck exhibits shallow rebar, map cracking, and hairline cracks with efflorescence and rustating, of which some cracks have dampness and seepage. Isolated honeycombing with exposed rebar up to 1/2 inch deep, numerous hollow areas, numerous falls up to 2.5 inch deep, and isolated falls up to 4 inch deep. Several of these falls have exposed rebar. So the true condition of the deck is unknown due to the bituminous concrete wearing surface on top. Existing deck joints are in fair condition. There are asphaltic plug joints at abutment 1 and Pier 1B, which were installed in 2012. There are modular deck joints with concrete headers located at Pier 4 and abutment 2, which are original to the deck and were installed in 1995. The asphaltic plug joints were recently repaired. Modular deck joints exhibit separations up to 15 feet long between glands and steel extrusions, with light visible below, moderate sand impaction in the joint glands, as well as ponding water. Concrete headers exhibit random spalling up to 1 inch deep, as well as other spalls up to 2 inch deep. Pourable seal joint at abutment 2 are missing up to 50% of the joint length. The sidewalk siding plate deck joints with concrete headers are located at Pier 4 in abutment 2 and exhibit isolated spalls up to 3/4 inch deep in the concrete header. The concrete parapets are in satisfactory condition and the medians are in good condition. The north fascia parapet and sidewalk barrier meets TL4 loading, but are not MASH compliant. Median barrier is also not MASH compliant and only meets TL2 loading. Median barriers and north and south fascia parapets also do not meet the CTDOT's minimum height requirement of 42 inches above the roadway surface. So existing conditions at the approaches. Overall, the approaches are in satisfactory condition. The approach slabs are not visible as the approach pavement is noted to be in very good condition as they were recently paved. Approach guide rail at the northwest approach is in satisfactory condition and exhibits some collision damage. This guide rail appears to meet RI standards. The guide rail and bridge attachments do not meet current CTDOT standards and are not MASH compliant. Existing conditions for the superstructure. Overall, the superstructure is in satisfactory condition. The bearings are noted to be in fair condition. The bearings consist of elastomeric expansion bearings steel fixed bearings, and pot bearings. The elastomeric bearings exhibit isolated minor curling and bulging, random gaps up to 1/4 inch between the pad and pedestal, with up to 27% loss of bearing contact area, and laminated rust at sole plates. The fixed bearings exhibit random moderate to heavy rust, anchor bolts slightly tipped and nuts loose or backed off, gaps up to 1/4 inch between masonry plates and pedestals, which result in up to 71% loss of bearing contact area at one location, and all other locations with up to 20% loss of bearing contact area. The pot bearings exhibit isolated sole plates in contact with keeper blocks, light to heavy rust, and up to 1/16 inch deep section loss due to leaking joints, isolated PTFE strips sliding out, and isolated Teflon shavings observed. The girders are noted to be in satisfactory condition. The girders exhibit random peeling paint and up to heavy rust, isolated laminated rust, and isolated minor losses, which result in less than 5% flange loss and less than 10% bearing and shear loss. Structural steel paint is noted to be in good condition, with less than 5% of the exposed steel surface area showing evidence of rusting and missing paint coating. The movable inspection platforms are not functioning and are in poor condition. These will be removed as part of this project. For the substructure, overall, the substructure is in satisfactory condition. The concrete abutments exhibit vertical, horizontal, and map hairline cracks with efflorescence and rust, hollow areas and spalls up to 2 inch deep with and without exposed rebar. Piers 1A, 1B, and 2 are concrete piers with pier caps and columns, and piers 3 through 9 are solid concrete wall piers with post tensioning. So the pier caps and columns exhibit linear and map hairline cracks with isolated efflorescence and spalls up to 1/2 inch deep. Wall piers also exhibit linear and map hairline cracks with random rust and efflorescence, as well as isolated hollow areas, isolated spalls with exposed rebar up to 4 inch deep. Piers 4 through 8 stems extend below the water line and exhibit spalls with exposed rebar and some with section loss, abrasion throughout, hairline cracks, and some cracks open up to 1/8 inch wide. For erosion and scour is noted to be in satisfactory condition. There are 2 areas of erosion, one at abutment 2 and one at pier 2, which are both located below scupper pipes. Existing condition of the channel and protection. Overall, channel and channel protection is in satisfactory condition. Channel scour is in satisfactory condition as well. The channel bottom elevation have areas of aggradation up to 4.7 inches high and areas of degradation up to 7.7 feet deep. Major scope of work items include steel strengthening, painting beam ends, replacing elastomeric and fixed bearings, as well as pot bearings at pier 4 and abutment 2, replace deck joints, replace wearing surface and membrane waterproofing, repair concrete deck, approach slabs and barriers, add a 10-inch concrete cap to the north fascia parapet and portion of the south fascia parapet, replace median barrier, repair concrete substructure, replace the northwest approach guide rail and curbing, upgrade and block transitions to be MASH compliant, restore erosion at abutment 2 and pier 2, install new roadway lighting poles, navigation light, and night underbridge lighting. Other minor items include repair broken wheat pipe, extending pipes, cleaning and repairing scuppers, sidewalk paver repairs, applying penetrating sealer to concrete, removing the movable inspection platform, repairing handhole covers, and repairing approach stairs. Next, I will discuss some additional information on the existing conditions and propose repairs on a few scope items. So steel strengthening will be performed to bring the structure up to current code standards. Strengthening includes adding diaphragms, installing bottom flange cover plates, and installing transverse stiffeners. For bridge joints, as noted previously, are in fair condition. There are asphaltic plug joints at abutment 1 and pier 1B. There are modular deck joints that are original to the deck and were installed in 1995 at pier 4 and abutment 2. All deck joints will be replaced. Asphaltic plug joints at abutment 1, preformed joint seal at pier 1B, strip seal at pier 4 and abutment 2. It should be noted that preformed joint seal and strip seals require deck end reconstruction to install the new joints. Quickly touching upon highway geometrics for this project, the bridge has an ADT of approximately 27,000, and the bridge will not improve any highway geometrics. Environmental resources and anticipated permits are listed on this slide. Temporary and permanent wetland impacts are not anticipated. Barges may be required to complete the construction work. Coordination with U.S. Coast Guard and deep boating will occur to minimize navigation impacts. For anticipated project impacts, MPT on the bridge will utilize staged construction for repairing the concrete deck, installing the waterproofing membrane and pavement, replacing deck joints, replacing the median, and capping concrete parapets. This work will be accomplished using temporary lane closures and lane shifts. It is anticipated a portion of the deck repairs and deck joint reconstruction may be accomplished using temporary off-peak lane and shoulder closures. For sidewalk repairs, the work area and pedestrian path will be separated by water-filled barrier, and the contractor will be required to maintain a minimum 5-foot pedestrian path throughout the entire construction duration. Stage construction will be utilized. Stage 1 will close the left lane of Route 2 eastbound and westbound, while Stage 2 will close the right lanes of Route 2 eastbound and westbound. There are no anticipated impacts to the utilities. Anticipated impacts to the rights of way include temporary easements for addressing erosion at Pier 2 and Abutment 2, as well as access for various rehabilitation items. Additional anticipated project impacts. For Founders Bridge, our bridge spans over roadways, railroad, and walkways. So in span 1, we have I-91 southbound, where we have beam and painting and bearing replacement, which may require temporary lane shifts or closures. And span 2 at Grove Street to I-84 westbound on-ramp, steel strengthening and bearing replacement may require a ramp closure, with a detour utilizing Sheldon Street on-ramp. We also have I-91 northbound to I-84 westbound on-ramp, where you have beam end painting, bearing replacement, and steel strengthening, which may require temporary lane shifts or closures. For span 3, over I-91 northbound, beam end painting and bearing replacement may require temporary lane shifts or closures. And Grove Street to I-91 northbound on-ramp, bearing replacement may require ramp closure with a detour utilizing Sheldon Street on-ramp. In span 4, the Connecticut Southern Railroad is located adjacent to Pier 2, where bearings are to be replaced. It is anticipated that these bearings will be replaced from the span 3 side of Pier 2. Below span 5, we have the Hartford River Walk, which extends below spans 4 and 5. There will be substructure repairs at Pier 4 and bearing replacements at Piers 3 and 4. And lastly, in span 10, the Great River Park Trail extends below span 10. There will be substructure repairs and bearing painting at Pier 8. As noted on the previous slide, there are 2 potential detours for bearing replacement work in spans 2 and span 3. First detour, Grove Street to I-84 westbound on-ramp. Traffic will be directed down Columbus Boulevard and utilizing the Sheldon Street on-ramp. Second detour is for the Grove Street to I-91 northbound on-ramp. This detour will utilize the same detour, which uses the Sheldon Street on-ramp. It should be noted that these 2 detours will not occur at the same time. In addition to the previous slide detours, the following detours are for traffic entering Grove Street from the Science Center or the Convention Center. Traffic here cannot turn left onto Columbus Boulevard, so this detour will direct traffic north on Columbus Boulevard to State Street, up Market Street to Kinsley Street, and back down Columbus Boulevard, and utilizes the Sheldon Street on-ramp. So this slide highlights the existing dike wall and river walk trail in Hartford and the existing levee and Great River Park Trail in East Hartford. The river walk and Great River Park Trail will remain open at all times. The contractor may temporarily require access through these trails to obtain access to the underside of the bridge. There will be no impacts to the dike wall in Hartford, and the levee in East Hartford requires temporary access to gain access to Abutment 2. Also, repair of riprap at this location may be included in this project. Coordination on this is still ongoing. Potential laydown locations. We are evaluating two potential locations. Both at the east approach. First is located just adjacent to the existing ramp to Pitkin Street, and the second is located adjacent to the on and off ramp at Darlin Street. So this concludes the technical presentation. Luke will now discuss schedule and cost.
Thank you, Jen. Yep, for the schedule, we have design approval coming up on October 9th of this year, 2024. Our final design plan submission is due in April 22nd of 2026. Design completion date is June 3rd, 2026. We will advertise this project for construction July 11th, 2026. We anticipate construction to begin in the late summer, early fall of 2026. We expect construction to take 2 seasons. Right now, the total estimated construction cost is $22.3 million, funded 80% by federal funds, 20% by state funds, and no town funds required. I would like to point out that right now, the cost and schedule are preliminary and they are subject to change.
All right, to summarize tonight's meeting, I'd like to restate some important information. So this is a bridge rehabilitation project, which will extend the useful life of the structure as well as increase the structural capacity. Route 2 eastbound and westbound traffic will be impacted with staged construction. Stage 1 is mainly for the median replacement as well as deck repairs and joint replacement. Stage 2 is for the outside barrier work along with deck and joint work. Short-term detours will be required for the Grove Street on-ramps to I-84 westbound and I-91 northbound. Lane shifts on roadways below the bridge will be required for I-91 northbound and southbound. And lastly, pedestrian impacts will be impacted to reduced pedestrian walkway widths, but a minimum width of 5 foot will be maintained. So this now concludes our presentation. I'd like to thank you, and we will now begin the Q&A session.
Thank you, Jen. Maz, do we have any questions in the voicemail or email?
We don't have any questions yet, but earlier I saw Mark, who's online, had his hand raised, so I don't know if he's got a question.
Yeah, I think you put it down. Feel free to submit any questions to the Q&A chat. That is the easiest way for us to answer the questions. We'll wait a few moments while we wait for some questions that possibly come in. Okay. We have some questions come in. Question 1 from Mark. Emergency and service vehicle access needs to be maintained across the Founders Bridge pedestrian walkway. 5 feet wide is not sufficient. Okay. Jen, would you like to speak to that?
Sorry, just unmuting myself here. Yeah, that's a great question. That is a great point. I think we'll have to consider that in looking into our walkway. Sorry, go ahead, Miss.
Yeah, can you go back to the slide where you have the cross sections? I'm not sure if we have enough space to have a vehicle. I guess we can take a look at that and see. So Mark, do you have any minimum width that you want to see? 12 feet. Okay.
All right, I think we can work with that. Because really the most work we're doing to that sidewalk is just repairing the pavers out there.
Mhm.
So I think we can work with the 12 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Luke. Yeah, we'll take a look at the, thanks for the yeah, the heads up. We'll take a look at that when we'll incorporate it as part of the project.
And then another question, there's a failed electrical conduit on the south side between piers 2 and 4. We will note that, and if it's not included in the project, we'll look into it.
Yeah, so for that, I saw facilities asked us to do some bridge lighting or under bridge lighting on those spans, because there is another project for lighting, and this portion we will include under our project. So I think we will take care of those. But if they're not in part of the project already, we will include them.
Okay,
I think he's got other questions, Luke.
yep,
I don't know.
I see in there. Will the highway roadway lighting be replaced? There are a lot of lights that need repair. That is included in the project. Those will be replaced. There's concrete deterioration on the parapet separating the walkway from the traffic on the south side. Is that the one where we're putting the cap on?
No, this is the barrier between the sidewalk and Route 2. Yes, we have observed that, and that will be repaired.
Awesome. The Darwin Street exit gore is the better laydown area. Okay, great.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's great information. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the laydown area next to the pedestrian walkway has a lot of foot traffic. Okay, awesome. That's a great recommendation. We'll include that in the project. Okay. Will the walkway drainage be repaired? I think we're repairing all the scuppers, either replacing or fixing. I believe we're addressing all, right, Jen?
Correct.
Yep. Can you turn on my microphone? Mark, we're looking into it. Just 1 second. Hey, Mark, can you try saying something? See if we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Hey, there you are.
Excellent. I don't know who else is in this meeting, and I don't want to necessarily monopolize it, but I think I have more information to share. So if there's somebody else who wants to talk, I'll stop for a minute.
Yeah, we're going in order. We're at nobody else has asked their question, so it's all you.
Okay. The south parapet of the bridge on the pedestrian walkway, there's like a negative parapet hangs down below the walking surface. There's a number of spalls on that should be repaired, replaced.
Yep.
There's a trench drain across the walkway between piers 3 and 4 that needs some help. We have puddling on either side of it, and I think it's pretty well clogged, so it definitely needs to be addressed.
That's on the walkway, right?
Correct.
Yeah, we noted that as part of our inspection when we were out there in the field. You remember, Jan,
Yep.
the grade? Yep. Yeah,
Will
thanks,
the
Mark.
DO, will the DOT, well, and before I say anything more, it's great to see this project in the works, and it's work that is much needed. Totally understand it, and Riverfront Recapture wants to be helpful and see this work done sooner than later. There are broken granite pavers on the walkway. Will they be replaced as part of this project?
Yeah, I can speak to that. That's the planned work on, you're talking about on the bridge itself?
On the pedestrian walkway.
If it's the pedestrian walkway on the structure, we're planning to repair those, but if it's off the structure, we may not be repairing them.
Yeah, we have historically replaced, when I say we, meaning Riverfront Recapture, but it's a pretty expensive endeavor, and those granite pavers are hard to find. They're special items that have to be ordered. Happy to share the source with you if you guys don't have it.
Yeah, great. That would be great.
Yeah, please do, Mark. Yeah, we appreciate it.
Will the ornamental railings be repainted as part of this project?
Currently, it's not in our scope, but that's definitely up for discussion, I think.
I think they're at the point in their lives that if something is done in the next couple of years, will greatly extend the lifespan because there's minimal amount of corrosion. Those are structural steel and cast iron. They were all hot dip galvanized before they were painted. So they are in pretty good shape, but there's some places that are starting to show rust. And I think that if they were addressed sooner than later, there wouldn't be a significant repair or replacement bill in the not too distant future.
Yeah, got it. We'll check it out.
We will consider that. We'll talk and then yeah, if we see it's needed, we definitely consider it. So
Mhm.
So do you anticipate the work over the river being done? There was a mention of it possibly being done by barge. Where do you see the barges being serviced from, or where do you think that they're going to do their loading and unloading of materials and equipment?
That one. So the barge, we're permit for it to allow the contractor the potential to use the barge. We've done similar projects to this one. We're right up the river at Dexter Coffin. The same thing we permitted for the barge, but they didn't actually use it. We just kind of want to anticipate worst case scenario so they don't run into any permitting issues. I don't know that we have identified specific locations at this point, but as we progress, we can get that information.
Yeah, if we could, if there are going to be barges and they need to do some kind of a facility to get access on and off of it, it would be great to do it from Charter Oak Landing, which is the bridge to the south of the Founders.
Yeah, typically we'll do it from an established boat launch.
Yep.
We won't be, cutting in, especially with the levee system over in that area.
Yep. The Charter Oak is better suited for that than any of the other boat launches on the river in East Hartford.
No, that's excellent info, because as we start permitting, they will definitely ask us which one.
So, also know that you cannot take a tractor trailer in from the Hartford side to the bridge. It all has to be with straight truck. You can't physically turn a tractor trailer underneath the I-91 southbound viaduct.
For the detour, you mean?
No, for construction access.
Oh, okay.
Can you restate that? Where is it not available?
So there's an existing paved access road that comes in from Van Dyke Ave by the Colt building. It's something that Riverfront Recapture maintains. It's on a combination of state, private property, City of Hartford property. And it has a 90-degree turn in it that is not, you can't drive a regular tractor trailer through there. It can't make the turn.
Gotcha.
If you're bringing in a crane, it has to be either a small crane or it has to be a crane with all-wheel steer. you can bring a straight bed truck in, but you cannot take a tractor trailer in there.
Right, that's great. Thank you.
The the inspection platforms, having installed them many years ago, are actually still operable. You just have to adjust the tension on the wheels to get them to move, and you got to have like a superhuman person in there to turn the handle to get them to move. Just, I don't know if you guys are aware of that or not.
Yeah, we were under the impression they were not operable, so that's good to know. We'll have to talk about that internally.
Yeah, no, you just have to adjust the tension on the drive wheels, because they're temperature sensitive. If you adjust the tension, then you put the crank on and you start cranking, you can go across the bridge. It's a lot of physical effort, but they still work.
Yeah, the problem right now, they're not being used. So
Correct. Yeah.
So they're
I
just there, and last time I think we went there was a homeless person on one of them.
Yeah. So the movable inspection platform on the east side at
Yep.
abutment 2, Pier 9, absolutely
Yep.
should be removed.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if the other ones are doing any harm. I don't know. I mean, if you guys want to remove them, but I mean, it's your decision.
Mhm.
And is this truly, you think it's a 2 construction season?
I think it's based on timing as well. Just we're starting late summer, so we'll have the start construction and then we'll have the off season and then come back in and finish the following year.
I think most of the work that you guys are proposing would have a minimum impact on our park operations and the events and the activities that we do. But anything that we could do to, at minimum, coordinate our events calendar with the construction work, I think is important. And if there's any ways that we could maybe, work collectively to come up with a good schedule, say in May, as we look ahead to the coming year, as to, when is a good time for a contractor to be working and when is not a good time for a contractor to be working. Most of our events and activities happened on evenings and weekends, so I don't anticipate there being many conflicts. But we do utilize areas that would be prime access areas for contractors for different events.
Understood. Yeah, we can definitely coordinate with you.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, that's definitely a good comment there. So we will coordinate further about that, and we'll include language in the contract to limit the contractor activity during those times. But are those activity or events on the bridge itself, or like just in the
Yeah, so as an example, this past Saturday we had Taste of the Caribbean, which is a great community event, and there are tents set up underneath the bridge. There's vendor booths or tables for people to sit down and eat at. And a lot of that equipment we set up typically like on the Friday before the event, which would happen on a Saturday or a Sunday. And then it's broken down either over the weekend or on the Monday. So again,
Okay.
it's just coordination of the construction work with the event schedule. And if we're all on the same page at the beginning of the year, we can all plan for it and plan accordingly. We obviously don't want to inhibit the DOT in their efforts to repair, rehabilitate the bridge. But at the same time, if we can work collectively to make sure we can facilitate the public's use of the park as well, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And we will include we'll coordinate and include those, what's necessary in the contract, but also district construction will coordinate with both cities and you guys during the construction phase, especially to work around those events.
Yeah, and Mez, just to add to that a little bit, we're in prelim design now. As we move into final design, we'll be coordinating with you as well. I think it's going to be important for your group to also do, submission reviews and stuff like that moving forward, and keep your group in the loop throughout all the final design.
Yep. On the East Hartford side, where the stair and ramp structure traverse down from the roadway elevation down to East River Drive, Riverfront actually has a project in permitting right now, but as part of it, we plan to do miscellaneous concrete repairs in that area on the walkway because we hear comments on it, and it's kind of within the bigger picture of our project area. We were also going to be repainting the rails, doing caulking on that stair and ramp structure.
Yep. We initially talked about that and determined that's kind of out of the scope of this
Okay.
project. So that's great to hear.
Okay. Will you be doing the expansion joints on the East River Drive Bridge as well?
No.
Some of those are failing. Is that something that could be added to the project?
It's the bridge. It's the bridge to the
Yeah,
east.
right there. Yep.
Yeah. I know the joints on the walkway are failing. I don't know the condition of the joints on the actual roadway. I think
Yeah.
that they were,
So right now the limit of our project doesn't go beyond, to that extent. I'm not sure if there is another project because sometimes we have joint project that
yep,
that does just joints for a number of bridges. I'm not sure
yep.
if there is one. But we can look into it and see where we are.
It might make sense. I mean, you'll have a contractor there doing, plug joints already to
Mhm.
go and redo two joints that are like 10, 12 feet long.
Yeah.
In an area where it really has no vehicle traffic, so it's an easy replacement project.
Yeah.
It might be beneficial to do it now rather than wait for the damage to occur to the structure and the bearings.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, we'll consider that.
The walkway in East Hartford on north and south of the Founders Bridge is in poor condition. The shoulders are failing. We have ponding, we have breaking asphalt. If that's used by any kind of heavy equipment, I assume like manlets would come in, perhaps contractor trucks. It's a little bit of hack and patch on the concrete and replace the bearings. That's about the extent of the project, but I'm concerned about the condition of our walkway as it sits today and what it might happen to it as a result of the contractor traffic.
Yep, I think we will, if, we use the path, then we'll restore the condition to the, better than we found it kind of situation, but we definitely wouldn't come in, destroy the path and leave.
Yeah, I'm just great. We
problem.
actually hope to get it replaced, repaired sooner than later if we can find the funding for it. But there's, well over 1,000 feet on one end and probably a few hundred feet on the other that need to be addressed.
Yeah, so normally if we're using like a path like this or even in a detour, if there is excessive damage due to the construction vehicles, the state is responsible for repairing it.
Yeah.
Beyond normal wear and tear.
It just heads up that it could be a full replacement that's needed because it's in that kind of rough shape. We don't take
Mhm.
heavy equipment down it. And I think if there was any, I don't want to say significant, but heavy vehicle traffic is probably going to be the death blow of that walkway.
Okay.
So,
Yep, appreciate you bringing it up. Thank you.
yeah. So what is the next step in this process?
Yep, so we're wrapping up preliminary design. So after that, yep, right there. So that's design approval. After that, we'll move into final design. We'll try to lock in the design and further vet some of this coordination and other activities. And I'd say that's mostly it before we submit the plans and move to construction.
It'd be great to keep Riverfront Recapture in the loop on what's going on. So that way, more than happy to share knowledge that we have in real-time knowledge of what's going on the bridge. And I think we could be beneficial to the project process. And at the same time, the more we communicate, I think the better end product we'll have for everybody as far as coordination and, speed of construction, least amount of conflicts possible.
I totally agree. Mark, you've been a wealth of knowledge tonight. I mean, it's almost like you're part of the team already. So I think that we'll definitely keep you in the loop going forward.
Okay, great.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, for all the info. Yeah, we definitely keep you in the loop. And since you're here, are there any good activities going on the next few weekends?
Yeah, we were supposed to have a Jimmy Buffett tribute concert tomorrow night at the Plaza, and that's been canceled thanks to Tropical Storm Debbie.
Okay.
But next Saturday is our Dragon Boat and Asian Festival. That'll bring 15,000 people down to the downtown area
Nice.
for Dragon Boat racing on the river. We've
Yep.
got another concert on the 23rd, which is an Eagles tribute band. And then we have a regatta in October. The Hartford Marathon comes through in October. There's
Yep.
something else in September that I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's always stuff going on.
All right. We'll make
That's
sure.
nice.
Okay, guys.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not seeing any more questions in the Q&A. Check. I see nothing in the DOT project inbox. I think we have no more questions at this time. I think this is a good meeting, and I appreciate everyone attending. The comment period is still open. You have 2 weeks to submit questions, and we'll get back to you. Other than that, I think we're all set. Everybody have a good night, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.